The character Henry Fleming comes from the novel The Red Badge of Courage, written by Stephen Crane, a key work of American realism set during the Civil War. Henry Fleming is a young Union soldier whose journey from fear and self-doubt to courage and self-awareness forms the emotional and psychological core of the novel. One character story. Henry Fleming, often referred to as the Youth, begins his journey as an inexperienced and idealistic young man eager to prove his bravery in war. Influenced by romantic notions of heroism, he enlists in the Union Army, expecting glory and honor. However, as he marches toward his first battle, his confidence begins to waver. He becomes increasingly preoccupied with a single question: will he run when faced with real danger? When Henry finally experiences combat, his fears overwhelm him. During the chaos of battle, he panics and flees from the front lines, abandoning his fellow soldiers. This act of desertion fills him with guilt and shame, but he initially tries to justify his behavior by convincing himself that survival is more important than blind bravery. Wandering through the forest, he encounters wounded soldiers and envies them for their visible red badge of courage, a mark of honor he lacks. Ironically, Henry receives his own wound not in battle, but accidentally from a fellow soldier during a chaotic retreat. He uses this injury to pretend he has fought bravely. Returning to his regiment, he is welcomed back without suspicion, which both relieves and deepens his inner conflict. As the story progresses, Henry begins to mature. In subsequent battles, he fights fiercely, driven partly by a desire to redeem himself. His courage grows more genuine, no longer rooted in fantasy, but in lived experience. He becomes a reliable and even heroic soldier, carrying the flag and leading charges. By the end of the novel, Henry reflects on his journey with a sense of growth and reconciliation. While he does not entirely forget his earlier cowardice, he integrates it into a broader understanding of himself. His transformation is not into a flawless hero, but into a more self-aware and psychologically complex individual. Role in the narrative. Henry Fleming serves as the central perspective through which the narrative unfolds. The novel is largely structured around his internal experiences rather than external events, making him both the protagonist and the lens of interpretation. His role is to embody the psychological realities of war, especially the tension between idealized courage and actual human fear. Instead of presenting war as glorious, Henry's experiences reveal confusion, panic, and moral ambiguity. Through his thoughts and emotions, the reader gains insight into the inner struggles of a soldier rather than simply observing battlefield actions. Additionally, Henry functions as a vehicle for character development within the story. His transformation from naive youth to reflective soldier provides the narrative arc. Without his internal conflict, the story would lack its emotional depth and thematic focus. Finally, Henry's interactions with other soldiers highlight different responses to war, allowing the narrative to explore courage, leadership, and camaraderie from multiple angles. Symbolic significance. Henry Fleming symbolizes the universal human struggle between fear and courage. Rather than representing a traditional hero, he embodies the ordinary individual confronted with extraordinary circumstances. His journey suggests that courage is not the absence of fear, but the ability to confront and move beyond it. The red badge itself becomes a symbol of both physical and psychological validation, reflecting society's tendency to equate visible suffering with honor. Stephen Crane likely created Henry as a response to romanticized war literature. By presenting a flawed and realistic protagonist, Crane challenges conventional ideas of heroism. Henry's internal conflicts mirror broader questions about identity, morality, and the human condition, making him a deeply modern character despite the historical setting. Mainstream readers and critics generally view Henry as one of the most psychologically realistic characters in war literature. His fears and contradictions resonate with readers because they reflect authentic human emotions. Rather than condemning him for his cowardice, many interpret his journey as a truthful depiction of growth. This relatability has contributed to the lasting impact of the novel, as readers see themselves in his doubts and eventual development. For conclusion, Henry Fleming, the central character of The Red Badge of Courage, is introduced as a young and inexperienced soldier driven by idealistic dreams of heroism. His concise characterization lies in his transformation, from a fearful youth uncertain of his own courage to a more mature individual who understands both his strengths and weaknesses. Symbolically, Henry represents the universal human confrontation with fear. His story demonstrates that courage is not innate or constant, but something developed through struggle and self-reflection. The Red Badge he seeks becomes less about physical wounds and more about inner validation and growth. Mainstream reader evaluation emphasizes his realism and relatability. Henry is not admired because he is perfect, but because he is human. His mistakes, doubts, and eventual progress make him a compelling and enduring figure in literature. Together, his personal journey, symbolic meaning, and reader reception highlight the novel's deeper message, that true courage emerges from acknowledging fear rather than denying it.